welcome to Real WW Talk. I'm Rikki.
And I'm Candice.
Well, we are short Erin today. We are definitely missing her. She is getting some rest, taking care of some things, but we look forward to seeing her the next time. But how are you doing, Candice?
Oh my gosh, I got sick this week. I am telling you. I know that and I know Erin's been under the weather as well. There's something going around. Rikki, last month, I think you had like a sinusy.
Yes, it was like a 2-week long thing.
I feel like I was so proud that I got through all this travel that I've been doing recently and was not sick. It's not COVID. I know that's always the big thing. Was it COVID? No, it wasn't COVID, but I had the whole like nasal congestion and runny eyes.
Hear it.
Yeah, I still don't sound fully but trust me, leaps and bounds from where I was like a few days ago.
Good.
So little coughs, but I'm feeling better. I can breathe again. I was telling Rikki that the challenge for me, or the benefit, I don't like to be sick, but I do like that when I'm sick, if I lose my sense of smell, I can't taste things. And if I can't taste things, what's the point of eating? I know that sounds like it's eating food when you can't taste it. So all I do is eat vegetables. And I lost 5 pounds. So
it sounds like we all need a little of that. Not that we should be sharing our germs, but we're
a little cold,
You and I were just quoting The Devil Wears Prada, and I'm probably horribly misquoting it, but it's Emily's character who's like, I'm just one stomach flu away from my goal weight.
One stomach flu. And that's how I felt. I told my husband, David, he was like, do you want to make dinner? I was like, what's the point? What's the point of eating? Let's feed the child. Who cares? Because he's sick too. So we basically just made soup. I made a really good kale soup, which was fantastic. I think it was fantastic because I couldn't taste it. But it was chock full of veggies and garlic and onion.
Amazing.
So my whole week has been spent recuperating and so
glad you're on the mend and feeling better. Definitely.
What was hard though was doing a step bet because we're in the step bet, our holiday hustle, and you always see posts from people who are like, I'm sick, but I'm pushing through. And I'm not one who usually uses the rest day early, but I did. That's when I was starting to come down with the stuff.
Yeah.
So now I've been hustling to make sure that I don't lose, because I don't lose step bets.
And that's tricky because, I guess you could shift and make Sunday always be your rest day, but it's kind of like you're starting the next week with the rest day, and it just gets you off, And
I do recall somebody asking us and begging us to not make the step bet run from like Sunday to Saturday, but some things are just more procedural. It's not like,
we don't.
But I'm telling you, it's it's been tough this week. But how was your week, Rikki? You weren't sick, so how did you do?
I was busy, and I feel like this time of year, it's plans that I'm looking forward to, plans that I'm excited for, but I went to a movie last night, and that was after a long day of work, and it started at 7, so I didn't get home until like 9:30, 10, and I couldn't decompress, and I had to, kind of make myself go to bed as quickly as possible. So I feel like with this time of year, it's enjoyable because of all of the events, but it's hard to find time to rest.
Yeah. And rest is so key because especially if you're because I feel like with all the stuff going around and the hustle and bustle, that's like a recipe for illness if you don't take that time. But did you enjoy the movie at least?
I loved it. I highly recommend, if you're into musicals, The Musical Waitress, which I did get a chance to see in person with Sarah Bareilles, was recorded. So they have it in the theaters where you can watch the recording, and it was beautifully done. So anyone who wants to see that,
I'm not going to hurt Rikki's feelings and tell her that I've never seen or heard of because she was telling me about it. And I was like, I don't even know what that is.
Well, that means you and I are going to the movies. Well, we'll have to invite Erin and go see it together.
I just did that to try to get an invite. So my husband certainly will not come with me to see it. He's like, musical, I'm out. Because he hated Les Mis, which we both loved. And he was like, all they do is sing every single
cry.
line.
They sing and cry.
They sing and cry. This is the worst torture. I was like,
Okay.
"It's so beautiful." I
That's not
love
where
it.
you start with musicals. That's not where you don't start with limits.
I know. I don't know what I was thinking.
Well, but you had some people to shout out, right?
Yes. We have such an active community on our Facebook page. You can just search Real WW Talk. We have 7.8 thousand people in there.
Yeah.
It's a great place. And I love hearing from our guys. We have some
Mhm.
some males who regularly comment, but this one really got me. Last week, Ricky and I were talking, and Jerry Miller said, catching up on the last podcast, I have another comment from the Man Zone. I really enjoyed this episode. I had some takeaways, including using "so what" as an attitude and not letting a slip become a slide. I also agree with the philosophy that perfection is not attainable, at least not for me, and I'm okay with that. Thank you for the much needed Weight Watchers pep talk. I just kind of, because it is a community that tends to be more woman focused or have a lot of
Mhm.
feedback from women, but we have men who are on this journey, and it's always great to have them kind of chime in and tell us their thoughts. So,
It's great to get that male perspective because, they are a big part of the community and have great words of wisdom too.
yeah. And so, Jerry, thank you so much for your feedback. And I also wanted to shout out Nola Dawkins, who said, I'm so proud of me today. I'm proud of the way I'm feeling. I'm proud of all the times I've said no to myself today. I'm proud of my water intake so far. I'm just proud of me. I've been in a slump and it feels so good.
Wow, I love that.
We sometimes, I think, don't take that time to acknowledge the effort that we're putting
Mhm.
into the little things that are really
Mhm.
big things. And for her to shout that out, and she got a lot of really good feedback from people saying, "Well, I'm proud of you too." And that's
Mhm.
the power of community to me, is for
Yeah.
things that people who are in their regular life and aren't in this Weight Watchers world, they may not understand why things
Mhm.
like that are exciting, but it
But
is.
yeah, I love that. Nola, thank you for sharing that. And I feel like so many people have been raised to not boast or not, but I don't think that's boasting. And I think we confuse that sometimes. And I think I challenge everyone to just shout out something that you're proud of with yourself because we don't do that often enough.
And I know that Weight Watchers, for those who are in the Weight Watchers community, because I know some of you are not, but they sent out this email saying they're getting rid of like the charms unless you go to meetings. And I know that there's some people who don't have a meeting that nearby that they can go to,
Right.
but you can always count on your real WW Talk sisters to give you some virtual Bravo stars,
Yes.
because I was hurt when the Bravo stars left. So Nola, everyone else who's doing well, you get a round of applause and a virtual Bravo star, because
Yes.
that
We're
hurt my
proud of
heart
you.
that they were taking away the charms, because I'm
I
all about
know.
like the little things.
Right. It'd be one thing if they were really trying to get people into the center and they were if they kept the centers, but
Yeah.
the thing is, like you said, like, their centers are few and far between now, so if
Yeah.
you don't have access, how are you supposed to get these charms?
Like, I understand business decisions, but, I think just because I'm one of those who's motivated by the little things, like,
Yes.
there's plenty of things that you can find. That's what I was looking at, because Ricky's probably the queen of finding like little charm bracelets and things. You can find it on Etsy or other places
Mhm.
to kind of replace it, but we'll have to get it creative. And I'm sure they're going to try to come out with something else that we'll need, because
Mhm.
people need their motivation.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. So that brings us to our topic today. So it is close. I mean, we're in the thick of the holiday season, and we are getting very close to a new year, which is always exciting, just new beginnings. But you and I were kind of chatting before about all the things we do to prepare for that new season. And one of the things we were talking about was our planners and our journals and our, all those things that we're like saying we're going to commit to fulfilling and filling up
Yeah.
in the new year. But I don't know. So what are some ways that you like to get ready for the new year?
Well, as you know, I'm supposed to be on a journal fast, with buying new journals. But you know what? This is real WW talk. I'm about to out myself. I told
Proud of
Ricky I
you.
wasn't going to do this. But
Uh-oh. Are you sure?
do you see this? For those who are watching or listening to the podcast, I'm holding up a journal I just bought that said, "You are worthy of new beginnings."
That's
It's just
beautiful.
the cutest journal. Okay. And my husband hopefully is not listening because I'm not supposed to buy them, or my therapist. I haven't written in it. I just wanted, it's just so pretty. But
Mhm,
something about it, again, the blank page, right?
mhm,
Planner. Everybody
mhm,
needs to get a planner. That's what you were saying, Ricky, for the new year.
mhm.
And I love the process of planning out
Yes.
the year. And this is around the time where I feel we have a few weeks left in 2023. So either
Mhm,
some people have been like, this year's over, I don't care anymore. Let me go full on into thinking about all the great things that are coming for 2024. And some of us who are trying to like still plug along.
mhm,
But I tend to like to use this time maybe for both. Like I'm still plugging along, but I'm trying to think about, and I've always loved planning out for the next year, like
mhm,
putting on all the, the things that I'm going to have to do on my calendar, or
mhm.
what goals I have for each month. The harder part for me is the execution, because
Yeah.
I can plan forever and I get excited about the newness of things,
Mhm.
but that can wear off pretty quickly.
Okay.
So I was thinking about planning versus execution,
Yes.
and how the world capitalizes on our obsession with brand new shiny things, like a brand
Mhm.
new shiny year, and the planning that
It's
goes into that.
it's so interesting because, I think that's a marketing thing, and they know us so well. They know us better than we know ourselves, and I think there's something about seeing a new, whether it's a new exercise bike or a new video that you're gonna start watching that you have to pay for, or a new planner. It's like a promise. Like, it's like a new promise of, like, I may have not filled out this journal completely last year. I may have not used my planner starting in March last
Yeah.
year. But this year, it's gonna be different because I have this plan. you
Yeah.
know?
This one is special. Like,
It's
this is
so
gonna change it
special.
all.
And I think we do that with our weight too,
Yeah.
with things related to our weight, where it's like, well, the app just updated. My app finally updated. Well, this looks new. This is going to be easier to use. And I mean, there's all kinds of promises we tell ourselves, but like you said, the execution, like the newness wears off.
Yeah.
And with the planner example, I think sometimes, like, let's say I put in by June 2024, I want to be at this weight. Well, what happens when June 2024 comes and I'm not at that weight? But what if I still lost 15 pounds?
Yeah.
Am
Yeah.
I focused on what I wrote
Yeah.
and what my previous intentions are, or am I focused on the progress that I did make?
I think it kind of goes back into our discussion last week, which was, it's great until there's that
Mhm.
error. I'm not trying
Mhm.
to, or that imperfect thing. You have to cross out the appointment because it had to be rescheduled. So
Mhm.
the planner is no longer perfect. It's not
Mhm.
pretty.
Mhm.
Or I was supposed to lose 5 pounds because that was the goal that I wrote in, and I only lost 3. So
Mhm.
therefore, my goal for January is done.
Right.
Forget the whole planner.
Let's just forget the whole year.
We'll just forget the whole year, which is always one of my favorite jokes that people tell. They're like, it's January 5th, and today I ate a bagel. Bring on 2025. Like, just go ahead and
Counting
erase
down the
the
days.
rest of the year. But I think that that is something that, we have to really, we might have minimized by joking about it, but
Mhm.
you and I both really do have like endless amount of planners, and we have the best of intentions.
Mhm.
I think we have to, I'm challenging myself
Mhm.
to push past, like I told you what my therapist said, to push past those broken moments, or those
Mhm.
rescheduled plans, or that month where I didn't hit that goal, and to be able to put a bracket and say, again, so what?
Mhm.
That's fine. Let me add a different color or something to signify a change, but I'm not going to throw away the rest of the year, because
Right.
the execution is not going to be perfect, but
Mhm.
that's where the change happens.
Yeah.
And that's what I want to embrace for 2024, because I have a lot of different goals that I want to hit, and not just weight goals, professional goals.
Mhm.
Like, there's a lot of stuff going on in Candice world. Because
Mhm.
my therapist was reminding me of all the different hats that I wear. She's like, your
Yeah.
wife, mom, you got all these different things that you want to do.
Mhm.
It's going to require consistency
Mhm.
and execution.
Yeah.
That's just it. And it's not about or really consistent execution, not perfection.
Mhm.
And planning allows you to feel like it's going to be perfect. That's
Mhm.
why I get stuck in planning.
Yeah.
And I said, well, yeah, but it's still, like you said, it's still exciting. That's why Staples and all those places, Office Depot, I don't know what your stores are near you, but
Oh,
those are
good.
some of the best stores, because it's
Yeah.
like,
They have this flashiness of newness, and I think you're onto something with the perfection piece. Is I think if we go into the year with whatever the goal is, with whatever the thing is, whether it's a planner or a weight loss goal for the year, knowing I have expectations of myself and I want to hold myself to standards. That's one thing.
yeah.
But I'm also not going to hold myself to standards that are so strict that they are in the perfectionist range. And that if I don't meet them, I'm sabotaging myself or I'm giving up for the rest of the year.
Could we even make a goal? It's almost like reverse goal setting. Like, I am making a goal to intentionally mess up, or to
Mhm.
have some slip ups
Mhm.
in the month. I was
Mhm.
wondering about that because,
Yeah.
as you know, I love a new month, which means I love a new year, which
Uh-huh.
means I love everything new.
Mhm.
But I've always loved people who start their weight loss journeys on like a random 8th of the month. What's today?
Mhm.
Like the 8th of the month at 11:21 p.m. for no reason,
Right.
after they had a really big breakfast and they waited in the middle of the day.
Mhm.
Why? Because that would not be a time that anybody would expect you to just decide to change your life
Mhm.
or to
Yeah.
do something big.
Mhm.
Why do we push against that? Why is that something that I think that's why we also don't want to start at the end of the year, because it's like
Right.
we're trying to give ourselves an excuse. Do you feel it's that too? Like trying to give
Yeah.
yourself an excuse to just keep doing whatever the behavior is, and then you'll be good
Absolutely.
at the beginning of
Abs
the year?
I think because 'cause we're not ready. We're not ready to for the commitment or for the level of maybe unrealistic commitment that we think we need. Like, if we're thinking we need to be perfect, of
Yeah.
course we don't wanna start a quote unquote diet, or we don't wanna start Weight Watchers because 'cause we're thinking that it's gonna involve, "Okay, well, I'm gonna get my juicer out
Yeah.
and, you know, I'm not gonna eat anything solid until this time, and I'm only gonna eat, turkey bacon for lunch." Like,
Yeah.
if we have of course you're not gonna wanna start, but I
Well,
think if
why do
we're
we always make it nasty? Like, it's always like, I'm gonna have my juiced collards,
right.
like, what?
Yeah, and I think that's what we think of when we were even though we have been doing this for so long.
For so long.
But I think even we get caught in this, like, I'm starting again tomorrow, and that starting again means I'm gonna be perfect tomorrow.
Yeah.
And it doesn't, and I think that's why we put it off for tomorrow. Because what we've been putting it off for tomorrow if it wasn't just a lifestyle.
Right.
Like,
Right.
if it's as easy as it's a lifestyle and this is something I can do every day, why am I starting again tomorrow?
And if you look at influencers who really haven't made something their lifestyle, like
Mhm.
they're moving along. We always, it's easy to pick on Syat because we've
Mhm.
talked about him so much, but there's never ever this feeling of perfection. It's
Mhm.
always this feeling of no matter what he eats, he's going to do this thing. Like he's
Mhm.
going to go to the gym still. He's not going to, and that's something that we consistently always kind of don't do. It's
Mhm.
okay, I messed up. Wait till next week. Let me
Mhm.
add more insult to injury, all the things.
Yeah.
And if you can, I feel like there's an addiction to that. There's an
Mhm.
addiction to the fresh start.
Yeah.
And obviously, it's not just us because it happens throughout the entire culture. That's why the big
Mhm.
joke is about the new year.
Yeah.
But it doesn't have to stay that way. And that's why
Mhm.
I love saying on this journal, which is completely the opposite, but it says you are worthy of a new beginning, but
Mhm.
that doesn't mean that it requires perfection.
Right. Right.
And I'm wondering what do you feel when you thought about Ricky this time last year? Who
Mhm.
was so excited for 2023
Mhm.
and all the promises you were making to yourself internally when you had bought the journal? Because I know you and I both have already bought our planners for
Of
next year.
course we have.
We
Of course
already
we
have,
have.
and we have different versions. We got, like, the activity one, and we got one
Mhm.
for school and
Mhm.
one that's for work. What do you feel? Do you feel similarly, or can you recall what you were thinking this time
Mhm.
last year? And can you think of maybe one thing, I'm putting you on the spot,
It's
that
fine.
you might have to do differently this year to
Mhm.
like, when did you start to get tripped up last year?
That's a good question. I mean, I think the holidays are always challenging because it is the end of the year, and there is this feeling of, well, this is the time of year where I get to enjoy hot chocolate, and I have hot chocolate on a regular basis. And this is the time of year where all the peppermint things are out, and I like that. Or the fancy cups are at Starbucks, so I like, getting a fancy Christmas cup because they're going to be gone in January. So I think that's probably what tripped me up, not just last year, but every holiday season. The uniqueness of the season and the knowledge that it's passing, the knowledge that like it is only going to last until January 1st, and then it's just back to boring, you know?
So it's like FOMO, like fear of missing
Right.
out. Uh-huh.
So I think my mindset historically has been, and even I'm not going to say it's different this year. I think there's a few little differences, but it historically has been, um, let's just get to the new year. Let's do our best. I do try to do my what I think is my best during the holiday season, which includes tracking. And I've been trying to do that a little bit more, but I still wouldn't say I've kept my tracking streak the way I
Yeah.
would have liked to. But it's just a matter of trying to track and trying to do my best, which includes tracking. And again, I think we've said this in other episodes this season, but trying to prioritize having the things that are maybe significant for the season, and maybe saying no to other things that are
Yeah.
just there.
Well, it's funny because I was thinking about mine is similar to you. Like, I do
Okay.
have a fear of missing out on some things, but
Yeah.
when I think about how it translates into going into the new year, I'm that one who, when the ball drops, right,
Mhm.
12:01, I have my planner already filled out for January.
Oh my
I've
goodness.
already pre-scheduled the Peloton workout that's like the New
Of course.
Year's Day workout, and I have my breakfast stuff ready because 'cause I'm gonna start off with a multigrain tortilla and 1 egg and this, and I'm like, "This is my year," right? And I
Mhm.
go through, and I go, and I go, and I have a good breakfast and a good lunch,
Mhm.
and then somebody invites me to dinner
Mhm.
on New Year's Day for whatever reason, and I might have a piece of bread that I
Mm.
didn't plan for, not because bread's bad, but I'm just as an
Right.
example, something I didn't plan for.
Yeah.
The day isn't perfect.
Mm.
The day isn't perfect,
Mhm.
and I am completely afraid
Mhm.
of the fact that there is no perfection. Like,
Yeah.
I started off the 1st of the year with no perfection.
Mm.
And then I don't know how to recover because mentally I hit a block of, I had all these plans and I'm
Mhm.
over points on the 1st day of the year. Let
Yeah.
me go ahead now and wait until Saturday. And it becomes then, if because of the 1st of the month is the 1st of the month isn't on a Saturday, well, I'm going to wait till
Mhm.
the next weigh-in day. And that becomes my thing for the whole year.
Mm.
Like, crazy.
It is. And I think when we were talking about, Seema Sistani and all the things that she's been saying lately about apologizing for,
Yeah.
kind of taking away the weight portion of Weight Watchers and just focusing on mindfulness. But I don't think that was a complete mistake,
Yeah.
because I think when we're more focused on the behaviors
Mhm.
and why we're doing it, our why, but not only our why, but like what makes us healthy, and
Yeah.
being healthy in other ways other than the scale, like not wanting to be perfect, or going into the first day of the new year and saying I'm going to focus on the behavior of tracking instead of I want to focus on I have to lose 3 pounds this week.
Yeah.
There is something to that. And I think, I'm sure there's a reason and data that she's and her team have collected to say that they've made mistakes.
Yeah.
I'm sure there are. But at the same time, I think some of us are in this mindset because we've been so focused on not only what we want, where we want to be weight wise, but the fact that we haven't gotten there in the time that we want to get there. So I think there's something to that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think that we also have to be able to have those it's hard, but it does require, because there's only so many tools that people can throw at you, right?
Yeah.
They can have the perfect tracker and the perfect bike and the perfect thing, but this journey is made up of minute by minute decisions, like little things. And it's that voice that you're telling yourself in your ear at that time that says, I did this. Okay. Like, this is not something, it's having to be able to tell yourself that what you're thinking is not accurate and choosing to do something new.
Yeah.
And I don't know that we're willing to let go of our own smartness. And I think that's especially difficult for those of us who have done it for a while, because we think we know everything. And the voice that says that the way that we're doing it is so loud that, though, I learned this when I worked in veterans court. I think I told you the veterans who did best were the ones who were not very smart, but the ones who came in very open mind, very like, I don't know anything about how to like recover. I've never tried. This was my first relapse and I just don't know how. They were so guidable and so willing to accept that they needed to transform their mind. The rookies were just so too smart for their own good.
And I think that begs the question, how do we get rid of the knowledge we've learned?
How do you
How do
get
we But I think the answer is not as hard as we think. I think it's hard to do, but I think the answer is not as hard. It's pride. It's all about like, I need to humble myself. I need to listen. And because my challenge has been, I have been doing the virtual meetings, but I haven't been to a virtual meeting in quite a while. And I think sometimes it's easy to get distracted in a virtual meeting because I'm at home. So I might be cooking breakfast while I'm listening, and then I get distracted and I'm like, oh, I haven't been listening. So I think that's a way that I personally want to humble myself and to say, there's something I can get out of this meeting. I need to stop multitasking when I'm doing it. I need to sit, I need to turn my camera on, and I need to participate.
Yeah.
And I think that's a way of going back to, like, if I was at an initial meeting, I know that was in the Stone Ages and, it was in person.
Yeah.
So now I'm at the virtual ones, but even regardless of the type of meeting, I can participate like a new person would.
And like you said, so when it comes to execution, especially for us who are kind of been in this for a while, humbling ourselves to understand that, because you and I, we've done it. They're talking about fruits and veggies again. I already know half a cup is this. No, they're talking about fruits and veggies. I'm going to listen, see if I learn something new. Somebody may say something that's this, or this happened. I know what my normal pattern is. I'm going to share with my accountability partner how I'm feeling, because that's not something I normally do. I think that's where, when we're talking about executing versus planning, the execution needs to be in new ways.
Yes.
And it's okay to say, I've executed in the past, but have you executed this way?
Yes. And recently, because it's like you said with the fruits and vegetables, I may not learn anything new, or maybe I will, but let's say I don't learn anything new from listening.
Yeah.
Have I actually eaten a piece of fruit or a vegetable? Have I done that?
Yeah. And that's what we love about our lifetimers. And I'm sure we have so many in our group and in our in-person meetings. I always love that every single week they come and they contribute to the conversation. And they'll say, this week I need to focus on this. And you're like, why would you need to focus on anything? Your lifetime. but the acceptance that this is for life
Mhm.
and that I can always learn and adapt and do something new. I
Yeah.
think that's a big thing. And I've
Yeah.
loved this discussion
I
because
know.
it's
This
so
has been
timely.
so good. I think we're prepared for the new year. It's another day at the same time, and we're just gonna to keep moving forward with our goals and be realistic with our expectations of
Yes.
ourselves.
Yes.
Well, thank you, Candice, for such a great conversation. We look forward to chatting with Erin next time, hopefully.
Feel
But
better.
yes, we wish her all the best and pray that she feels better. But thank you to our community. We love the conversations that build in our community, whether it's on Facebook or our comments on Instagram. So if you would like to join us, we would love to have you. Check us out. We're at Real WW Talk on Facebook. We also are on YouTube. We have Instagram as well, also Real WW Talk. And we are trying to increase our presence on Connect. So definitely search for us there. You can also listen to the podcast wherever you like to listen to podcasts.
Yes.
So that is it for us today. We wish you a wonderful holiday season and we will see you again next week.
Bye.
Bye.